Part 128. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1271. Chapter 1271 Annual Report Performance. However, she will not let herself fall into despair. Seeing that the heat was almost over, Zhang Bilian said to her enthusiastically, "Yingluo, the training camp is preparing for the annual report performance every year. There is a lack of a heroine. We all think you are quite suitable and would like to recommend you for the role. What do you think?" Xia Yingluo had vaguely heard about the performance report before. It was an annual event in the training camp. There would be many agents, directors, and producers from the industry invited to come. If there are any trainees they like, we'll give them some opportunities. Hence, all the trainees attach great importance to this performance and compete for spots every year. Xia Yingluo is not very interested in this matter. Even if she can't get a good spot, the support from her family alone is enough for her to dominate the entertainment industry. However, don't give up the roles that come to you. By the way, she also said, "Show me the script. Is there any role that is suitable for Linger?" When Zhang Bilian saw her defending Jin Ling, she was not unhappy as usual. Instead, she said enthusiastically, "Yes, yes. There are two supporting actresses who have good positions and are very suitable for Jin Ling. I'll keep them for her. You can choose whatever you want one." Xia Yingluo smiled, "You are very smart." Zhang Bilian also smiled softly and took the opportunity to say, "Jin Linger's temper is too straight, and there are some things she is not suitable to do. Yingluo, if you don't mind, you can come to me if you encounter inconvenient problems in the future. This is it means surrender." Xia Yingluo looked at her, "Do you think I need one or two errand boys?" Zhang Bilian was afraid that she would be unhappy, so she hurriedly said, "Yingluo, how come you are short of people?" "It's because I lack opportunities for training. If I want to stay with you and learn how to deal with others, just give me a chance." This is true. To be honest, it is not easy to work as an errand boy next to powerful people. I don't know how many people are eager to get such an opportunity, but those who can really get it are definitely lucky. The strange thing is that Zhang Bilian herself didn't have the foresight to establish a good relationship with Xia Yingluo when she hid her identity. If she had become good friends with Xia Yingluo early like Jin Ling, then she wouldn't even have to run errands and just go straight to her. Will be included in Xia Yingluo's care. Everyone has his own destiny. What Xia Yingluo said just now was just to intimidate her. She didn't want her to think that the opportunity came too easily. Seeing that she was interested, she said, "Okay, you go ahead. I will ask you to do something if I need it in the future." Who dislikes an errand boy? Many. Although this Zhang Bilian is snobbish and greedy, how many people do not seek fame or fortune? It is precisely the greedy person who is best controlled. As long as she is given enough benefits, she will be able to handle things properly. Cha-cha, what Xia Yingluo does not lack most is benefits. After hearing this, Zhang Bilian was overjoyed and went away with a lot of gratitude. Within a few days, a suitable role was secured for Jin Ling. She was the third female lead in the drama, a good friend of the heroine. She was straightforward and kind-hearted, and had a heavy role, which was very suitable for Jin Ling. Jin Ling came to Xia Yingluo, "Yingluo, it's great to get this role. Sure enough, I can have meat with you. Come on, give me one." She hugged Xia Yingluo's neck and kissed her cheek exaggeratedly. After a kiss, she said with a smile, "Our family Yingluo is the best." Originally, they planned to give this role to Zuzu. Zuzu is not suitable for this role at all. Her grades in acting classes are so bad. She is the third female. No, even if she ranks outside the 10th place, she won't be able to get her turn. Similar to Jin Ling's situation, Zuzu also relied on his good relationship with the famous daughter to get good roles. The difference is that Jin Ling really has the strength to match the role she got, while Zuzu just used the back door to establish a relationship. Xia Yingluo said, "Of course you have to fight for the one that suits you. What you like is more important than anything else. By the way, show me the script. I don't know what the heroine they want me to play is about." "You haven't read the script yet," Jin Linger made a fuss. Xia Yingluo was a little depressed. "Isn't it all your fault? Since you exposed my identity, I am now busy dealing with those who come to flatter me every day. How can I have time to read the script? If this continues, I will have no choice but to graduate early." "Don't graduate early," Jin Linger said, "I'll be so bored when you leave." Xia Yingluo looked at her resentfully. "You must perform well in this performance and try to be noticed by a big director or agent. Enter the entertainment industry directly and graduate early. Don't suffer in this training camp. If you don't graduation, if you weren't crazy, I would be annoyed by them." She stayed here to accompany Jin Linger, a good friend. When Jin Linger graduates, she can graduate naturally. Jin Linger smiled and said, okay, I'll try my best to get noticed by Zhao Yuxuan and directly become a new artist that the emperor focuses on." Xia Yingluo sighed and stretched out her hand to tear her mouth apart. "You still dare to mention Zhao Yuxuan to me?" Jin Linger smiled and dodged away. Turning around, he took out the script from the bookcase in the dormitory and handed it to Xia Yingluo. "Read it carefully. This script is good. It is about an alien who falls in love with a human girl. The story is so poignant that I was moved to tears." Xia Yingluo was slightly startled. How could it be such a coincidence that it turned out to be such a script? Open it and flip through it from beginning to end. It is indeed a heart-stirring story about an alien and a human girl. In the story, the plot of the alien male protagonist is heart-touching and tear-jerking. "How is it? Isn't it good-looking?" Jin Linger came to her side and read the script with her. "I heard that it was written by a newly contracted screenwriter of the Emperor. Look at the alien male protagonist. In order to find a female, the protagonist wandered alone in the universe for hundreds of millions of years, traveled through countless light years, and suffered countless injuries. He finally found a girl, but the girl still refused to recognize him. It was so pitiful that it must have been tear-jerking when filmed. I have a hunch that this drama will be a big hit." Xia Yingluo listened to her chirping, but seemed not to hear anything. How could it be such a coincidence? Wei Lingnan claimed that she had been searching for Aluo for hundreds of millions of years, traveling through countless light years, and there were so many injuries on his body. If the script hadn't mentioned Starskatana and the little princess, she would have thought they were the story of Wei Lingnan. I felt a little dazed before I realized it, and thought of that mysterious and dangerous man again. She still keeps the cosmetics he gave her. She wonders where he is on the tree-lined path. How has he been these past few days? Yingluo, you will definitely look good playing the heroine, Jin Linger said. It's just that it's not easy to have a sense of empathy when it comes to falling in love with an alien. You need to think carefully about this role. Xia Yingluo smiled bitterly. Why did she need to figure it out? Alien, a living reality in her life. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1272. Chapter 1272. Autumn Leaves Like Rain. This is a stage play. It combines singing, dancing, recitation, performance and various skills, which is very suitable for reflecting the comprehensive quality of trainees. Stage plays like this have to wait until the end of the semester to be performed live in the theater. Unlike movies and TV series, there is no pre-recording or editing. It completely tests the trainees' on-site performance and leaves no room for mistakes. All the trainees participating in the performance rehearsed very seriously. The male lead opposite Xia Yingluo is 2 years older than her. Rumor has it that he is about to make his debut. He is handsome, elegant, and seems to have a very comfortable temperament. His acting skills were good, but he was very nervous when acting together. He would make mistakes here and there. In one morning, Xia Yingluo had to do it all over again with him several times. The male protagonist Zhou Hanzhong felt very sorry for her, and carefully apologized. "Yingluo, it's my fault for dragging you down." Xia Yingluo smiled, took the mineral water bottle handed by other trainees and took a sip. It doesn't matter, although she has the temper of many young ladies, is squeamish and doesn't like to endure hardship, she doesn't know how to cooperate when it comes to serious matters. In a situation like today, Zhou Hanzhong didn't do it on purpose. On the contrary, he worked very hard to adjust his condition, so there is no reason to blame him. Accompanied him and did it again several times. Here, even the director couldn't stand it anymore and ran over. "Zhou Hanzhong, what's wrong with you? If you're still like this, I'm going to change the male lead." He turned to Xia Yingluo with some fear. "Miss Xia, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. You did a great job." Ever since Xia Yingluo's identity was exposed, she has enjoyed VIP treatment here, which is similar to the difference in treatment between super celebrities and small actors in serious studios. There is nothing that can be done about it. Who makes Xia Yingluo's identity so outrageous? Even the principal of the training camp was alarmed and reported it to Pei Xian in fear. After trying to figure out what Pei Xian meant, he told her step by step to take good care of her. Xia Yingluo was accustomed to everyone's respectful attitude toward her when she was at home. At this time, she said nonchalantly, "It doesn't matter." She doesn't matter, but the director does. What if something happens to the young lady when she gets tired? "Xiaoun," he greeted from afar, and a girl trotted over. The director looked at Xia Yingluo and smiled. "Miss Xia, why don't you go and rest first? I'll ask Xiaoun to practice with Zhou Hanzhong for a while. When he finds his condition, you can continue rehearsing." Xia Yingluo thought about it for a while and decided that it was okay, since it was just a matter of writing and reciting lines and moving, so she could just be Zhou Hanzhong's sparring partner. She thanked the director and sat down to rest. Immediately, several people came around to chat with her, praising her for her good acting and her beautiful clothes. Some of them even brought her fruit tea and snacks. Xia Yingluo just wants to scream to the sky. "It's all your fault, Ling Er. You're looking for trouble to expose my identity. Now it's fine. You won't be clean wherever you go." After finally getting rid of these people, she decisively called Zhang Bilian. "Bilian, find a few people to help me look around. Don't let anyone disturb me. You can share the tea and snacks here." Zhang Bilian saw that Xia Yingluo really had a use for her, so she quickly agreed with a smile, and the matter was settled in a short time. Xia Yingluo is also very happy. She doesn't want to have to work hard for Jin Linger doing errands like this. Besides, Linger has a straight temper and doesn't make many friends, and she can't do things like commanding and dispatching. Zhang Bilian, on the other hand, is skilled at controlling people's hearts, so it's perfect for her to handle this. Xia Yingluo drank water peacefully, thinking that if Zhang Bilian performed well, she could have a good future in the future. Across the stage, Zhou Hanzhong's rehearsals continued. Looking over from Xia Yingluo's point of view, she saw the boy wearing a white shirt, his tall figure against the light, and his slender appearance was similar to Wei Lingnan in her memory. Zhou Hanzhong was reciting the lines, "Jing Jing, I traveled through such a long time to find you. The countless twinkling stars in the universe are my thoughts for you, but what about you? How can you not love me? Jing Jing, do you know how sad I am?" She was in a daze for a moment. I wonder how Wei Lingnan felt when he traveled such a long light year and went through all the hardships from the star Scatena to the Earth. I haven't seen him for a few days. Is he, okay? Shaking his head, he thought, how could he think of that man? What he loves is not her at all, just a logo. Does it matter to her whether he works hard or is hurt? They are just unrelated people. After the break, the director came to invite her to the stage and said that Jo Hansung had found his form. Xia Yingluo came on stage. This time, she began to lose focus. Facing Jo Hanzhen's thin face, all she could think about was Wei Lingnan. She rehearsed the scene several times, making big and small mistakes. The director had no choice but to stop. Ms. Xia, are you tired? I'm sorry for keeping you waiting for so long this morning. The director was very polite. Facing her mistake, his attitude was completely different from that of Jo Hanzhen's. How about we stop rehearsing here today? You go back and rest first, and we can continue tomorrow. Xia Yingluo also felt that her current situation was not good, so she said, "Okay, I'm sorry, director, Mr. Jo." The two of them kept saying it was okay, it was okay. Xia Yingluo left the theater and walked alone on the campus under the colorful autumn leaves, feeling very worried. She didn't know that Wei Lingnan had such a profound influence on her. When she saw him and Gu Jingxiu standing together at the banquet that day, it felt like a thorn in her heart. He stopped her on the way. Although she was angry, she couldn't. It was not without joy when I received the cosmetics from him. She has been telling herself not to care about him, but it seems that no matter what she sees, she will think of him. His influence on her was greater than she thought. This is not a good sign. She frowned slightly as she walked deeper and deeper into the autumn deciduous forest. The fallen leaves were flying in large numbers, drifting on her body with the breeze. She stood in the forest in a daze for a while, and suddenly she felt that the feeling of being beaten by fallen leaves on her shoulders disappeared. The surroundings became silent, and the chirping of insects and birds stopped at some point. She seemed to sense something, turned around and saw Wei Lingnan. The man was wearing a white shirt and stood behind her with a picturesque face. He held an umbrella in his hand, which just covered her from the falling rain of fallen leaves. The warm autumn sun shone on him in wisps. Xia Yingluo had seen a lot of men in white shirts, but he was the only one who looked as good-looking as him. She looked at him with some fascination. Suddenly, as if she was shocked, she looked away and her face fell. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1273. Chapter 1273, Protect You Forever. What are you here for? She asked coldly, her face darkened. I'd like to invite you to drink coffee, he replied calmly, counting the days, the rejection reaction will attack again. She was stunned for a moment. He had been locked up in an underground base by him some time ago, and he had received comprehensive care. The rejection reaction had not occurred for a long time, and she had almost forgotten that this happened. Why should I believe you? She said stubbornly, maybe it's already healed. Wei Lingnan smiled slightly and looked at her like a naive little girl. You can try it? She squinted her eyes, weighing the truth and lies of his words. Perhaps she should really try to get out of his control. However, Wei Lingnan smiled again, you have to be responsible for your own decision, Aluo. Don't come crying and begging me in pain. I won't come crying to beg you, she snorted. Wei Lingnan said, yes, maybe you won't. But your parents and brothers may not be able to bear it, and ran to me crying and begging. Think about how proud Li Lei and Xiaoling are, it's okay to see them grovel. Worth it? Xia Yingluo glared at him, this man actually threatened her with her parents. So, Aluo, do you want to bet? Wei Lingnan asked softly. I'll go drink coffee with you, she said resignedly. After several months of getting along with him, she roughly understood how cruel the man in front of her was. It was true that he was easy to talk to when he was easy to talk to, but once his nerves got aroused, he could also make people miserable. Even if she doesn't think about herself, she still thinks about her parents. If she really offends Wei Lingnan and Wei Lingnan makes any embarrassing conditions, her parents will definitely accept it with gritted teeth. She is already so old, it would be unfilial for her parents to worry about her anymore. She sighed and glared at Wei Lingnan fiercely. I have never seen anyone more shameless than you. Wei Lingnan was not angry. I don't mind getting to know you better. Xia Yingluo cursed shamelessly again, turned around and walked forward. Wei Lingnan still held the umbrella for her, walking leisurely in the rain of fallen leaves deep in the training camp, like taking a leisurely stroll. No matter how hurried or angry Xia Yingluo walked, he always looked leisurely and unhurried, and even his pace and expression did not change at all. Xia Yingluo herself was so exhausted that she finally got out of the woods, panting. Perverted, beast, not human. She glanced at Wei Lingnan, who was calm and composed, and cursed in a low voice. Wei Lingnan smiled again. I am not a human to begin with. Aluo, when you awaken the genes and memories of the Scatena tribe, you will find out how powerful we are. I told you that I am not your Aluo. You are. Wei Lingnan, his words aroused her thoughts. She suddenly turned around to look at him and ask seriously, why do you think I am the one? Just relying on reasoning? Reincarnation and resurrection are not something that anyone can do. I have proven it before, my mother is not included. She is favored by this planet and is an aboriginal human being. And the Aluo you want to resurrect is an alien like you. Why do you think the earth will allow her to be resurrected? Wei Lingnan looked slightly gloomy and said nothing. Xia Yingluo was a little scared, but she still mustered up the courage to continue. If I could wake up, I might have woken up long ago, but until today, I don't have any memory of Scatena. Wei Lingnan, if I never wake up and be the same ordinary human being you are now. Do you want to wait for me forever? Her voice dissipated in the cool autumn wind. Wei Lingnan stared at her for a long time, his flat, mirror-like eyes showing no trace of emotion. She felt even more uneasy, and it took a lot of effort to resist the urge to run away. After a long time, he reached out his hand and held her face regardless of her dodge. You are Aluo, he said, firmly fixing the head she wanted to get rid of, and his long and sharp nails dug into her cheeks. It can't be anyone else. You will definitely wake up, 1 year, 2 years ago, years, 10 years, 20 years, I will wait forever. Even when you die, I will not give up. She looked at him with watery eyes, nervous and uneasy. Wei Lingnan, you can't do this, she said feebly, I have my own life. I want to find a man who likes me, get married, have children, and grow old together. You can't stop me. You should go and find your own happiness. You are my happiness. No, she shook her head, ignoring the stinging pain on her cheek, and the fine blood flowing down the crystal skin. I am not your happiness, Aluo is, I am not your Aluo. You are. He lowered his head and kissed her lips with his thin, cool lips, giving her a domineering and long kiss. Aluo, I know you are her. He held her in his arms and murmured in her ear, your breath, your taste, your tone of voice, your angry look, you look so much like her. Why, maybe it's not her. I am the man who likes you and we will grow old together. Her heart shook uncontrollably at his words. For a moment, she almost sank. But she knew she couldn't. What if I'm not Aluo, she asked him, am I nothing to you? I will always guard you, he said. He understood her worries. Actually, why wasn't he worried about her? Experiments have failed so many times that Wei Lingnan can hardly remember how many times he thought he succeeded, but had to accept the failure. She was his last experimental material, and he made repeated deductions. It's guaranteed to be foolproof, but what if it fails this time? Can he really treat her as cruelly as he did those experimental subjects in the past? He does not know. Don't even allow yourself to think about it. She is who she is, she must be, even if she can't remember it in her life, he will still pester her to the next life, and the next life. Since the Earth is a planet with reincarnation, she will think of him one day. Aluo, his voice was gentler, don't be afraid, no matter what happens, I will be by your side. Her anxious heart calmed down slightly, but she whispered, I don't believe it. She couldn't believe it. Her mother told her that a man's promise was the most unreliable. Although his father felt aggrieved every time his mother said this, but with Peizian so the negative teaching materials came first, and her father did not stop her mother from instilling such concepts in her. Don't believe in promises, the only one you can believe in is yourself. She pushed Wei Lingnan away, didn't you say you wanted to drink coffee? Let's go. Since you can't get rid of him, let's take one step at a time. She won't fall. She must not fall. She doesn't want to be his Aluo. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 1274. Chapter 1274. He is not my boyfriend. Wei Lingnan accompanied her outside. Konoha is bleak in early autumn, and the trainees in the training camp are talking and laughing in twos and threes. Seeing Xia Yingluo and Wei Lingnan, many people turned around and greeted them with smiles. Xia Yingluo was still feeling depressed and ignored those people, but Wei Lingnan returned the favor with a smile. His gentle and elegant appearance won the favor of many people. Have you heard? Wei Lingnan is Xia Yingluo's real boyfriend, and he has already met his parents. Some trainees gossiped about their companions, Zhao Yuxuan, and those random rumors are all false. Only Wei Lingnan is her true love, and they are both talking about marriage. Real or fake? The trainee next to him fussed. Who is this Wei Lingnan? He is really capable. He can even handle the little princess of the Li family. Who says otherwise? I have never heard of any rich people named Wei. The only famous person named Wei is Wei Shaiyin from Tianyi. That is not a wealthy family. This Wei Lingnan is really lucky. Well, being able to marry Xia Yingluo will save you years of hard work. There was a chorus of sighs and echoes from all around. Xia Yingluo had a good ear. She couldn't laugh or cry when she heard their comments. Wei Lingnan was hiding too deeply. He was obviously from a very wealthy family, comparable to the Xia family, but he kept such a low profile, making people think that he had no money, no power, and no background. He had really sinister intentions. She would rather he had no money, no power, and no background, so that she could kick him out without any responsibility. How is it like having to accept his entanglement now and having no choice but to go drink coffee with him? Xia Yingluo was extremely resentful. Took a few more steps and met Zhang Bilian, Zuzu and others. Zhang Bilian looked at Xia Yingluo with a smile and said hello. Hi, Yingluo, where are you going? The troupe is having a dinner tonight, will you come? No, Xia Yingluo was not interested. You can just go to the dinner party. I have something else to do. After saying that, she glared at Wei Lingnan very unhappily. Zhang Bilian observed the words and guessed that the two of them were going on a date, so she covered her mouth and said with a smile, there's something going on, I understand, then you guys have fun. Yingluo, your boyfriend is so handsome. She met Wei Lingnan once. It was last time in the dance studio that Xia Yingluo felt unwell, and none of them were willing to help her. Wei Lingnan walked in and broke their wrists, leaving them with a profound lesson. At that time, everyone hated Wei Lingnan, but now they have to praise him. To be fair, Wei Lingnan is indeed handsome and can fight well. It is not bad to have such a boyfriend. Xia Yingluo wanted to cry again. Would she rather be misunderstood by them that she and Li Rui were boyfriend and girlfriend? What's going on with this pervert? He's not my boyfriend, she said weakly. Before Zhang Bilian and the others said anything, Wei Lingnan had already smiled and said to Zhang Bilian, she is thin-skinned and shy. Hello, let me introduce myself formally. My name is Wei Lingnan and I am her boyfriend. If anything happens to Ying Luo in the future, you can come to me directly and exchange phone numbers. While talking, he actually exchanged phone numbers with Zhang Bilian and others. Xia Yingluo couldn't stop him, so she could only snort and turn her head to the side. Zhang Bilian smiled and said, Yingluo, what's there to be shy about? We've all seen how good he is to you. I'm so lucky to have such a good boyfriend. Xia Yingluo said stiffly, he really isn't. Let's go first. Zhang Bilian smiled slightly again, still thinking she was shy. In their minds, how could Wei Lingnan not be her boyfriend? Wasn't it her boyfriend who could rush into the dance studio and fight for her? Wasn't it her boyfriend who could always drive her to and from school in a black supercar? Wouldn't it be her boyfriend who could go see her parents? Isn't it her boyfriend who can accompany her for a walk on campus? Come on, all the signs are clearly just for people in love. It's just a pity for Zhao Yuxuan. Originally, Xia Yingluo loved him so wholeheartedly, and he should be the one who should marry into a wealthy family. The blame is on Zhao Yuxuan, who was blind and greedy. He missed such a good marriage in vain, and now he regrets it. Zhang Bilian is very happy now. She is grateful that she was saved in time and can be treated kindly by Xia Yingluo. She must cherish it. Thinking like this, he followed Xia Yingluo's wishes and said goodbye with a smile. Xia Yingluo walked out of the campus angrily. There was a black sports car parked at the gate of the school, which was Wei Lingnan's car. Wei Lingnan invited her to get in the car, and then said, "Why are you not happy along the way? It's been more than 10 minutes, no matter how angry you are, it should be over." As he said this, he started the car and headed to his usual cafe. Open. Xia Yingluo asked him with a stern face, "Why are you exchanging mobile phone numbers with Zhang Bilian and the others? Are you jealous?" Wei Lingnan smiled. Xia Yingluo said coldly, "Even if all the men in the world die, I won't be jealous of you." "Then don't worry about what I want my phone number for." As soon as Wei Lingnan finished speaking, the car sped out like an arrow from the string without any warning. Xia Yingluo was caught off guard, and her forehead hit the windshield, causing a huge swelling. "What are you doing?" She was so painful that tears were about to flow out. She covered her forehead with her hands and glared at him. Wei Lingnan said nothing along the way, using frightening racing skills, and arrived at the cafe in lightning speed. Xia Yingluo's face turned pale, and she sat in the passenger seat for a long time without coming back to her senses. She thought she was brave enough, but every time Wei Lingnan got crazy and drove a car, she felt as if he was going back and forth from the gate of hell. "Wei Lingnan, if you dare to treat me like this again, don't blame me for being rude to you," she almost screamed. Wei Lingnan looked down at her, his eyes a little cold. "Don't be so unscrupulous just because you are a Luo. My patience has its limits." She was slightly stunned. After a moment, he suddenly realized that it was the sentence "I won't be jealous of you even if all the men in the world are dead" that offended him. This pervert is so petty and vengeful, so annoying. Xia Yingluo opened the car door forcefully and walked out without looking back. Wei Lingnan followed her into the cafe, ordered 2 cups of coffee, and put the antidote in her cup of coffee. Xia Yingluo raised her head and drank it all in one gulp, then put the cup down heavily. "I've finished my drink, and I'm leaving." Wei Lingnan narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at her. She was afraid that she was the only one in the world who could drink coffee with the same vigor as wine. "Just leave like this without saying thank you to me." His voice was a little dangerous. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1275. Chapter 1275, Guardians are not qualified. "Say thank you," she sneered with a sharp voice. "Wei Lingnan, what qualifications do you have to ask for thank you? Don't forget who is the initiator of all this. You are lucky if I don't cut you into pieces." You, that's so thick-skinned. She looks beautiful when she is angry. The intertwined and blurred light in the cafe outlines her exquisite three-dimensional facial features, and her long and fine hair has a faint luster. She was wearing a pearl white embroidered dress and had a faint fragrance on her body. No matter from which angle she looked, she was an impeccable beauty. The beauty of mankind. She is now a human being. Human beings are really troublesome creatures, with erratic and unpredictable standards for choosing a mate, and great randomness and uncertainty. Wei Lingnan was a little irritated. Why was it so troublesome? He began to miss Scatena. There were only 5 or 6 female princesses on the entire planet. These females would fight with each other, and the one who survived in the end would become the queen and have the right to mate. A grand ceremony will be held on the day she ascends the throne. During the ceremony, brave warriors fight with their lives. The strongest person who survives in the end is the queen's husband. Simple rules, passed down from generation to generation. This rule ensures that each generation of Scatena people inherits the strongest genes, ensuring the prosperity of the race. Discipline of iron and blood. How does it look like a human being? With such a chaotic mating method and unreasonable reproduction rules, it is no wonder that this is an uncivilized zone at the edge of the universe. He didn't know how to capture her heart. Xia Yingluo glared at him again and left the cafe angrily. Wei Lingnan was left alone, sitting on the soft sofa seat, drinking coffee alone for a long time. The glass door was pushed open at some point, and a slender man wearing a clean white shirt walked in and sat down in front of him. The book you want. The man piled several colorful books in front of Wei Lingnan with a look of disgust on his face. Don't ask me to do this kind of thing in the future. You have no taste at all, do you know that? Wei Lingnan said, thank you, Shayin. The person who came was Wei Shayin, his nominal nephew and the young master of Wei's biopharmaceutical group. When Wei Lingnan arrived on Earth, in order to hide his identity, he mixed himself into a family according to the habits of people on Earth. He brainwashed the people of that family and modified their memories to make them think that they were born to be one of them. In return, he helped the family grow and develop into what it is today. Wei Shayin asked for a cup of coffee without politeness and looked at him. Is there something wrong with your relationship with Yingluo again? That pile of colorful books was requested by Wei Lingnan. They were mostly nonsense books such as Learning for Successful Love, How to Get Along with the One You Love, This is the Right Way to Chase Girls. Wei Lingnan, who always relied on his rationality, actually wanted to see this kind of thing. You can guess the reason. Wei Lingnan was a little depressed. Can you Earthlings be more reliable? I have read so many books, and I have given her pocket money according to the book, taken her to drink coffee, and dated her so many times. Why is she still treating me so much? Don't have a good face. The book didn't tell you to imprison her. Wei Shayin felt like the veins on her forehead were beating wildly. How come talking to aliens makes people so irritable? Since the last time he went to the underground base to rescue Xia Yingluo, Wei Shayin finally discovered the origin of this little uncle, who turned out to be an alien. However, he was very nervous and quickly accepted the setting. He got along with Wei Lingnan as always, without any psychological barriers. As the only person in the entire Wei family who has not been brainwashed and knows the true identity of Wei Lingnan, Wei Shayin has started a miserable career of running errands. Today, she will help Wei Lingnan buy a book, and tomorrow she will help Wei Lingnan check out a restaurant and so on. Sometimes he really wants to hit someone. Wei Lingnan became even more depressed. If we don't lock her up, she will escape. How can we cultivate feelings? Aren't you lovers in the past life? When she recalls everything, she will naturally like you. Why are you so anxious? Wei Shayin said indifferently, and then glanced at the books on the table with disgust. If you really can't learn, try using human methods from your own planet. If Yingluo is really your former girlfriend, maybe she will be moved by your own race's methods. It's a pity that Wei Shayin just said it casually. Wei Lingnan thought thoughtfully, really, is that okay? Wei Shayan's curiosity was aroused. Tell me, how do you chase girls on your planet? Wei Lingnan, kill all the competing males. Wei Shayan, you're not serious, are you? Wei Lingnan looked at him and said, this is the serious method of courtship on our planet. It's so perverted and cruel, Wei Shayan said with lingering fear. I'm joking with you, don't try it, otherwise Ying Luo will definitely fall out with you. No girl can bear this. Wei Lingnan raised a cup of coffee and said nothing. Wei Shayan regretted it so much. Why couldn't she control her curiosity and give him such an arrogant suggestion? He asked cautiously, are you still considering this method? No, Wei Lingnan said. If he strictly followed the rules of Scatana, he would not get Aluo at all. In other words, in fact, he never really got Aluo's previous life hundreds of millions of years ago. He is not qualified to participate in mating fights. All guardians are fruits banished from the world tree before they were born, and are considered defective. How could such a flawed person be the queen's consort? Even if all clan members are eligible to participate in the competition, the guardians will always be excluded. He could only watch helplessly as the other male warriors geared up and fought hard to get Aluo. He walked all the way, overcoming thorns and obstacles to protect Aluo from surviving, not just to watch her become someone else's bride. A trace of gloom flashed in Wei Lingnan's eyes. Recalling the day the planet exploded, she looked at him decisively and hatefully. I won't let you succeed. I would rather die than be with you. Then, there was a magnificent explosion. He only had time to grab her hand. After the explosion, only a fragment of her little finger bone remained in the shattered palm. She really did it? I would rather die than be with him. But as for him, he found in despair that he still loved her and was determined to resurrect her. Even if she could open her eyes and look at him again, and call his real name with the native accent of Scatana. In this life, he is content. The corners of his eyes were a little moist. He closed his eyes slightly and took another sip of coffee. The mellow and bitter aroma spreads in the mouth and spreads all the way to the bottom of the heart. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 1276. Chapter 1276. Ying Luo, leave quickly. Xia Yingluo walked out of the coffee shop, the anger still lingering on her delicate face. She stood on the street corner and reached out to hail a car and went back to the training camp. What she didn't notice was that there was an inconspicuous black car parked across the street, and a woman was looking at her gloomily through the one-way opaque glass. Miss, the driver asked the woman, should we follow? The woman's voice was cold. What are you going to do if you follow me? Are you going to be discovered? The driver saw that she was in a bad mood and did not dare to say anything more. Deathly silence returned to the carriage. Looking at the direction Xia Yingluo was leaving, the woman murmured to herself, Xia Yingluo, since you insist on getting entangled with Lingnan, don't blame me for being rude. I'm Gu Jingxiu's. I never know how to write the word failure in the dictionary. After a pause, she told the driver, call Zhao Yuxuan and tell her that Xia Yingluo has met Wei Lingnan again, and their relationship is getting better and better. Trash, he has been unable to deal with Xia Yingluo for so long, let him take care of his woman and don't let her out to seduce other men. The driver said respectfully, yes. Then she asked Gu Jingxiu cautiously, Miss, just getting angry is not the solution. I think Zhao Yuxuan is very stupid and may not be able to divert that Xia Yingluo away from Mr. Wei. Should we help him again? A few days ago, the reason why Zhao Yuxuan went to the Emperor's training camp to find Xia Yingluo was actually because Gu Jingxiu sent someone to tell him Xia Yingluo's identity and what happened to Wei Lingnan. Zhao Yuxuan was anxious, hoping to get along with Xia Yingluo. After Yingluo reunited, she couldn't wait to find someone. It's a pity that the man was as stupid as a pig and failed to persuade Xia Yingluo to change her mind. Gu Jingxiu cursed secretly in her heart. She didn't know what kind of medicine Xia Yingluo had taken in the past, and she actually fell in love with such an incompetent man. Now, it is inevitable that he will continue to help Zhao Yuxuan. Of course I have to help him, Gu Jingxiu said. Tell him that what a woman cares about most is cooked rice. As long as he can coax Xia Yingluo into bed, everything will be easy. If Xia Yingluo and Zhao Yuxuan went to bed, I'm afraid Wei Lingnan will also feel uncomfortable. Maybe he will get rid of Xia Yingluo when he gets angry. In that case, her wish of Gu Jingxiu will be fulfilled. Gu Jingxiu had a wishful thinking in mind, and a sweet smile bloomed on her lips. The driver was still a little worried. Miss, I'm afraid that Zhao Yuxuan won't even be able to trick her into going to bed. We have investigated Xia Yingluo. It is rumored that she fights with people in the training camp. One person can fight several people. Zhao Yuxuan, well, I'm afraid he's no match for her at all. Of course not her opponent, Gu Jingxiu sneered. Do you think Li Lei is an idiot and won't teach his daughter self-defense? Tell Zhao Yuxuan to start with the people around her. That person named Jin Linger is Xia Yingluo. As long as Jin Linger is kidnapped, Xia Yingluo won't give in when the rice is cooked. Xia Yingluo might fall in love with Zhao Yuxuan again, and no matter how bad things are, she can offend Wei Lingnan and make the two of them resentful. There was a rift in their relationship, and Gu Jingxiu had a chance to take advantage of it. The driver flattered Gu Jingxiu, saying she was smart and wise, and hurriedly went to do this. Xia Yingluo knew nothing about their conspiracy. She was rehearsing in the training camp and going shopping as usual, and her life was very regular. But she felt a little irritated. She didn't know why, but she always thought of Wei Lingnan from time to time, and the topics about whether she loved him or not, and whether he was jealous or not. At the end of the rehearsal that day, she asked Zhou Hansheng, the actor who plays the alien male protagonist in this drama, tell me, what would you do if an alien really fell in love with a human girl? That's so romantic. Zhou Hansheng didn't know why. If I were really an alien and the girls on Earth were so cute, I would definitely fall in love with her, treat her well, settle down on Earth, and have a lot of sons. Daughter, children, and grandchildren around our knees. We will grow old together. Xia Yingluo smiled bitterly when she heard this answer. It would be great if it was really that simple. Then what should you do if you have a girlfriend on another planet? She continued to ask Zhou Hansheng. If you can't go back, will you continue to care about that alien girlfriend, or will you really fall in love with the Earth? If you drink today, you will get drunk today, Zhou Hansheng said with a smile. If you really can't go back, or you can never find that alien girlfriend again, then why not live your life well now? Even if that alien girl, if my friend knows the truth, he will probably wish his boyfriend happiness. He glanced at Xia Yingluo and said, Yingluo, you are very fascinated by the story of aliens. Xia Yingluo is in trouble and can't tell her. How could she be fascinated? She was obviously troubled, but why did she expect such incredible emotional problems to appear in her life? After giving Zhou Hansheng a few perfunctory words, Xia Yingluo left. Wei Lingnan's face still lingered in her mind. His emotions, anger, sorrow, and words he said, including his gentle and considerate actions when pouring her coffee, all stirred her heart little by little. When she is really confused, Xia Yingluo will dig out the set of cosmetics he gave her. The beautiful light golden lip gloss is like a gorgeous autumn. She remembered that day when she was standing on the street. He used his fingers to apply lip gloss on her lips little by little. His movements were so gentle and careful, as if he was caring for a rare treasure. It would be great if Wei Lingnan was an earthling and if Luo didn't exist. Xia Yingluo was startled by her thoughts. Oh my God, is she obsessed? How can you think so? Regardless of Luo or not, Wei Lingnan is not a good match. He is too mysterious, cruel, and domineering. He should definitely stay as far away as possible. Xia Yingluo shook her head, got rid of the thoughts in her heart, and tried hard to live a normal life. At night, I occasionally dream about the beautiful lavender planet and some chaotic people and things. When I wake up, I often don't remember anything. This day, she went shopping. Walking on the streets in late autumn, she remembered that she had made an appointment with Jin Linger to meet later, in a coffee shop not far ahead. She hurried over there while looking at the time. Halfway there, a white van suddenly stopped next to his body. She was startled and was about to scold those people for driving. Then the door of the white van was opened, revealing the familiar face of Zhao Yuxuan and Jin Linger. At this time, Jin Linger was in a very bad condition. Her clothes were disheveled and her hair was messy. She was being held hostage by Zhao Yuxuan, with a fruit knife placed around her neck. Her face was pale. When she saw Xia Yingluo, she said with great effort, "Yingluo, go quickly." End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1277. Chapter 1277 Hotel Crisis. Xia Yingluo understood what was going on in an instant. As the daughter of the Li family, she has received kidnapping prevention education since she was a child. At this time, when he saw his friend being arrested, although he was angry, he still remained rational. "Zhao Yuxuan, what are you doing?" Zhao Yuxuan looked at her with a distorted smile. "Yingluo, what do you think I'm going to do? Get in the car obediently, otherwise, your friend's life will be in jeopardy." As he spoke, he thrust a sharp fruit knife towards Jinling. Another sticker was placed on ER's neck, and a trace of blood flowed down her neck. Xia Yingluo's heart tightened slightly. The fruit knife scratching her friend's body was like scratching her heart, and the pain spread. She said coldly to Zhao Yuxuan, "Let her go and I'll follow you." "No." Before Zhao Yuxuan could speak, Jin Linger had already shouted, "Leave me alone, you go alone." Although she didn't know what Zhao Yuxuan was going to do, she also understood that it was probably not good, so how could she put her friend in danger? Territory. Xia Yingluo frowned. "Linger, don't move around. I won't let anything happen to you, and nothing will happen to me either. Don't worry." She tried her best not to look at the more and more blood flowing from Jin Linger's neck. Looked at Zhao Yuxuan and said, "I know you still love me, and you resorted to such extreme measures because you love me too much. I just want to leave with you. We will resolve the matter between the two of us ourselves. You can let go. Let's ring the bell so we can meet each other later." A smile appeared on Zhao Yuxuan's gentle and fair face. "Yingluo, I knew you were sensible, but you are too naive. How could I let Jin Linger go now? As long as you behave, I will let her go sooner or later. Now you have no right to bargain with me, you must listen to me." Xia Yingluo frowned again, anger rising in her heart. But she didn't want to provoke Zhao Yuxuan in case he did something drastic. "Okay, I'll get in the car," she said. Zhao Yuxuan laughed again. "That's right. Don't play any tricks. Inject this first." After saying that, he stretched out his foot and kicked out a syringe from the carriage and kicked it in front of Xia Yingluo. Xia Yingluo had an ominous premonition in her heart. What is this? Zhao Yuxuan looked very proud. "I know that you hurt many people in the classroom last time and you are very skilled, so in order to prevent accidents, it is better to inject you with some muscle relaxant. Yingluo, don't worry, this injection is good for you. It's harmless to the human body, it will only make you lose your strength temporarily and you will have no way to resist. It's really despicable." Xia Yingluo cursed in her heart, but she also understood that now was not the time for a head-on confrontation, so she took the injection and pricked it into her arm. "Yingluo, no," Jin Linger cried out anxiously, and the blood on her neck flowed even more. Xia Yingluo said, I'll be fine. She could roughly guess what Zhao Yuxuan wanted to do to her. He just wanted to save the relationship and get back together. Zhao Yuxuan knew that she was the eldest daughter of the Li family and did not dare to offend the Li family, so he would not be so mad as to kill her or injure her. At most, he just wants to have with her, thinking that once he takes possession of a girl's body, the girl will fall in love with him. Xia Yingluo laughed at Zhao Yuxuan's naivete in her heart, but now is not the time to be reasonable. She can only get through the difficulties step by step. No matter what, she must rescue Jin Linger first. Zhao Yuxuan watched her take the injection without blinking, and smiled with her teeth exposed. That's right, Yingluo, I won't harm you. You really understand me, and we are a perfect match. The cold medicine was injected into her arm. Gradually, Xia Yingluo felt her strength draining away. The feeling of weakness spread bit by bit, making her shaky and unable to stand. She held on and said, "Now you can let go of Jin Linger." Zhao Yuxuan, however, still refused to let her go and Jin Linger. He personally dragged Xia Yingluo into the car, held her in his arms and sat down. "Yingluo, you are mine." He kissed her cheek with satisfaction. Xia Yingluo was so sick that she was about to vomit. She snorted coldly and turned away from him. She only said, "When are you going to let go of Jin Linger?" "What a deep sisterly love," Zhao Yuxuan said with a smile. "Of course we have to wait until our good things are over. Yingluo, I have prepared a room in the hotel and will take you there now. Although it is a pity that I could not have your first night before, it is not too late now. Your body will love you. Come on and let's get married, okay?" Xia Yingluo wanted to scold him for being shameless, but she held it back. There was nothing to argue with such a man who insisted on his own way. She didn't want to waste her words, so she just said, "You bandage Linger and don't let her lose too much blood. If anything happens to her, I will never forgive you in this life." Zhao Yuxuan said with a smile, "It's all up to you. Just find a piece of gauze to bandage Jin Linger's wound." Jin Linger roughly understood their conversation and what Zhao Yuxuan planned to do to Xia Yingluo, and couldn't help but cursed, "You shameless villain." Zhao Yuxuan smiled and said, "Thank you for the compliment. Since Yingluo is stubborn, I have no choice but to take this tack. Yingluo, you will understand my painstaking efforts in the future." After saying that, he turned to look at Xia Yingluo affectionately. Xia Yingluo's face was as dark as water and she ignored him. She has been thinking about a way to escape. No matter what, she cannot let Zhao Yuxuan succeed. The thought of letting such a scumbag touch her makes her feel sick. The minivan drove to a hotel and stopped. The driver, who was probably Zhao Yuxuan's confidant, got out and half dragged and half supported Jin Linger into the room. Zhao Yuxuan himself also helped the weak Xia Yingluo into the same room. It was a suite, covered with burgundy ambiguous sheets, and the air was filled with intoxicating fragrance. "Do you like it here? It's specially prepared for you." Zhao Yuxuan carefully put her on the bed. The effects of the muscle relaxant have completely taken effect. Xia Yingluo could not even lift a little finger at this time and said, "The environment is not bad." Zhao Yuxuan was very satisfied, "You are very well behaved, and I like it here too. The red color here suits you very well." Xia Yingluo showed an expression of resignation, "What if I don't behave well? I can't escape today anyway, so I might as well make myself comfortable." As she spoke, she raised her head and looked at Zhao Yuxuan charmingly, "You be gentle with me." Zhao Yuxuan laughed and said yes. Only Jin Linger said anxiously on the carpet nearby, "Yingluo, you can't do this, not even for me." Zhao Yuxuan, "Please let him go, please don't do this to her." Zhao Yuxuan said, "Luzuo, if you keep making noise, believe it or not, I will find someone to come and deal with you too." End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1278. Chapter 1278 Vixen. Jinlinger was so anxious that she didn't know what to do, and beads of sweat broke out on her forehead. She was not anxious for herself, but for Xia Yingluo. How could she get out of the situation when things got to this point? If Yingluo is humiliated, she will never forgive herself in her life. Xia Yingluo was very calm and said to Zhao Yuxuan, "Don't touch her, I will listen to you." Zhao Yuxuan thought that she had to compromise in order to protect Jinlinger, but he was not embarrassed. "Yingluo, since you said so, of course I will treat her well, don't worry." Xia Yingluo simply didn't want to look at his affectionate face, but under the circumstances, she had to be conceited and said, "You're not completely bad." Her tone seemed to have softened. Zhao Yuxuan was overjoyed. "Yingluo, of course I am a very good person. Those things in the past were all misunderstandings. As time goes by, people's hearts will change. In the future, if we get along for a long time, you will naturally know what kind of person I am." Xia Yingluo turned her face slightly and sneered in her heart, "Forever. When she gets out of here, the first thing she will do is to cut him into pieces. This man has a really good idea." "I'm thirsty and a little hungry," she said to Zhao Yuxuan, "go get me some food." Zhao Yuxuan looked down at her. She was soft and weak on the burgundy bed. Her fair skin and black hair were so beautiful that she was so beautiful. He felt like there was a burst of fire in his body, and he wanted to eat her up immediately, and said, "Yingluo, don't delay any longer." Xia Yingluo said, "I was really hungry. When I got into the van with you, I was going to find something to eat. You keep saying you are nice to me, but you can't even do this little thing." At the moment of beauty, Zhao Yuxuan can't wait to get her, but he doesn't want to really offend her to death. After weighing it painfully, she finally said, "Yingluo, of course I'm treating you well. What do you want to eat? I'll order room service." "You can only be sincere by taking it yourself," Xia Yingluo said. "I was walking on the street peacefully, and you tied me here. I was frightened along the way. Shouldn't you give me some compensation?" "Zhao Yuxuan, go and help me yourself. To get food, you are not allowed to take the elevator. You have to take the stairs, and I will forgive you." Obviously a delaying tactic. Zhao Yuxuan frowned and said, "You don't have to use these tricks on me. The security measures here are in place. Neither you nor Jinlinger can escape." Xia Yingluo said, "You don't have to use these excuses to frustrate me. It's just a matter of words whether you want to go or not." Zhao Yuxuan saw that she was really unhappy, so he smiled and said, "Okay, I'll go, and you'll have to be good in bed later." The last words were said in a hoarse voice, which was ambiguous and difficult to distinguish. He is not afraid of him escaping. The place is heavily guarded, so she won't be able to play any tricks. Rather than making her angry, it's better to just comply with her wishes. After all, you will still have to live with her in the future. She is the eldest daughter of a rich family, and it would be no good for him to offend her harshly. Thinking like this, Zhao Yuxuan turned around and walked out the door, going downstairs to get his meal. The guest room door closed gently, and only Xia Yingluo and Jinlinger were left in the room. Jinlinger looked at Xia Yingluo in fear. "Yingluo, what should we do now?" Xia Yingluo was very calm and spoke quickly, "I can't use the strength. You can find a way to untie the rope on your hands, and then call my dad. He will definitely be able to control the situation immediately." She was very fond of her father. "I am confident that that man controls huge power. As long as the phone can be made, the people in this hotel will get the order within a few minutes to control Zhao Yuxuan and rescue them." Jinlinger was originally in a state of confusion, but after hearing what she said, she calmed down more or less. "How should I untie the rope on my hand?" She now completely relied on Xia Yingluo. "I don't know how." Xia Yingluo still said calmly and quickly, "Zhao Yuxuan's technique is not professional. I've seen the rope, and it's easy to understand. Just follow my instructions and do whatever I tell you. She has received anti-kidnapping training in her family since she was a child. Untying the rope is a compulsory course and is easy. Her voice made Jin Linger calm down, as if she had a backbone, and said, "Okay." Xia Yingluo taught Jin Linger how to solve it step by step. Jin Linger learned very quickly. When faced with a big problem, she mobilized all her attention. Finally, her efforts were not in vain and she solved the problem. However, before he could be happy, he heard a soft click at the door was pushed open, and the sound of footsteps came from far and near. Why, Zhao Yuxuan came back after just a short time. The two of them looked at each other with their hearts skipping a beat. Jin Linger shrank back reflexively, her hands still kept behind her back, not daring to let anyone notice that her rope had been untied. Xia Yingluo's expression was as usual, and she couldn't see anything wrong at all. The hotel they stayed in was a suite. The footsteps stopped outside and then came towards the inside. A figure wearing a bright red dress appeared at the door of the inner room. Xia Yingluo looked up and saw an unexpected person. It turned out to be Pei Yan. "Why are you here?" she couldn't help but ask Pei Yan. Pei Yan looked at her condescendingly, as if he was not surprised to meet here at all, and said with a somewhat disgusted expression, "Xia Yingluo, you vixen, I should ask you this, what are you doing in Zhao Yuxuan's room?" Vixen. Xia Yingluo was so angry that she almost laughed. She was brought to this place for no reason, and she still had to bear such a reputation. "Take care of your fiancé," she said rudely to Pei Yan, "and tell him not to pester me. You came just in time and let me and Linger go. From now on, we will go our separate ways. You and Zhao Yuxuan, live your life how you love it." Pei Yan looked at her coldly. "As long as you, a vixen, are here, Zhao Yuxuan and I will not be able to live a good life." She was so beautiful on the bed, with her shoulders half exposed, her hair messy, and her delicate and weak look. Lian, even Pei Yan, who is also a woman, is jealous, so jealous that he wants to crush her to ashes. Pei Yan's eyes gradually turned gloomy when he looked at Xia Yingluo. Xia Yingluo instinctively sensed something was wrong. What on earth is this Pei Yan here for? Is it a coincidence, or did you walk into this room on purpose? It's true that Zhao Yuxuan just wants to sleep with her, but it's hard to tell for Pei Yan. If a woman becomes jealous, what crazy things can't she do? She felt a hint of danger. Thinking of ways to delay time, Xia Yingluo asked, "Pei Yan, how did you find this place?" Pei Yan sneered, "I have long felt that something is wrong with Zhao Yuxuan these days, so I sent someone to follow him secretly. As expected, he was seduced by this vixen like you." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1279. Chapter 1279 Fighting. Xia Yingluo tried her best to deal with it. "He hasn't come to me a few times, and I haven't seduced him." The hatred in Pei Yan's eyes became even stronger. "You still dare to quibble? If you hadn't seduced Yuxuan, would he never forget you? Xia Yingluo, you bitch, a born shameless slut." Seeing that her expression was getting crazy, Xia Yingluo didn't want to irritate her, so she just said, "Calm down, Pei Yan, Zhao Yuxuan and I are a thing of the past, and you and him are the best match. Let us leave here. I promise to try to arrange a marriage between you and him when I get back. No matter how I use my family's power, I will definitely let him marry you." Pei Yan's expression became even more gloomy. "Xia Yingluo, who do you think you are? Do you dare to show off that you are rich and powerful in front of me? Aren't you Li Lei's daughter? Li Lei's daughter is amazing. Your mother was me back then. Uncle, You don't want that slutty bitch. Now, even if Xia Yingluo is well behaved, she can't bear it anymore. It's okay to scold her, but how can you involve her mother in it? She looked at Pei Yan and her voice turned cold. Are you worthy of mentioning my mother? Your uncle has loved my mother all his life and has not married yet. What about you? Haha, even a little Zhao Yuxuan can't figure out who is the right one. It's obvious that it's rubbish, isn't it? There was a pop sound, and it was Pei Yanyang who slapped Xia Yingluo hard in the face. The truth is always the most painful. She really can't stand it anymore. Why do so many people like Xia Yingluo, but she can't even get Zhao Yuxuan? Yuxuan won't love you. She looked at Xia Yingluo with a crazy expression, and took out a knife from the bag she carried with her. As long as I scratch your face, do you think he will still love you? Love you? Xia Yingluo only felt that half of her face was sore, numb, swollen, and sore from the beating. Because of the muscle relaxant, her whole body was unable to move. Seeing Pei Yan's knife tip close in front of his eyes, Jin Ling-er, who was curled up on the carpet beside him, suddenly rushed over and grabbed Pei Yan's knife hand tightly. Put down the knife, Jin Ling-er shouted, I won't let you hurt Yingluo. With her pounce, the tip of the knife that was about to plunge into Xia Yingluo's cheek changed its direction and scratched the edge of Xia Yingluo's jade-white cheek, leaving a faint trace of blood. The knife pierced Jin Ling-er's arm. Jin Ling-er was in pain, but she still tried her best to catch Pei Yan, and the two soon struggled together. Ling-er, Xia Yingluo called out worriedly, watching Pei Yan press Jin Ling-er to the ground, burning with worry. She only regretted that she had been injected with an injection and could not move, otherwise as long as she took action, she would be able to take down Pei Yan immediately. Hurry up and move, hurry up and move. She thought silently in her heart and tried to get up from the bed with all her strength. There was a faint heat spreading in her body, and she didn't know whether it was because the effect of the medicine was gradually wearing off or a miracle happened, but she could barely move. Ling-er, she shouted again, struggling to get out of bed to help Jin Ling-er. On the carpet, the fight between the two became more and more intense. Pei Yan was stronger than Jin Ling-er and suppressed Jin Ling-er until he was unable to fight back. During the scuffle, Jin Ling-er tried to get the knife that fell aside, but Pei Yan grabbed it first. Maybe her eyes were red, but the knife stabbed Jin Ling-er. At that moment, Xia Yingluo felt that her heartbeat was about to stop. Like a slow-motion movie, blood splashed out and dyed the light brown carpet red. Jin Ling-er gradually lost her strength and fell lifelessly in a pool of blood like a broken rag doll. Her beautiful eyes were wide open and she lost her spirit. Xia Yingluo was heartbroken and called out again, Linger. Pei Yan was also frightened by her actions. The knife slipped from her hand and she said incoherently, I didn't mean it. Xia Yingluo struggled to get up with her remaining strength and yelled at Pei Yan, why are you still standing there? Call an ambulance. Pei Yan did not dare to call, and said, will she die? If she dies, will I go to jail? Xia Yingluo was almost furious, but she had to compromise, hurry up and call an ambulance, and then leave here. Whatever happens is my responsibility, and I will tell others that Zhao Yuxuan did it. If you don't call, not only even if Jin Linger is a ghost, I will not let you go. I will also use all the lawyers, police, and the power of the Li family to chase you to the ends of the earth. Pei Yan was frightened. When he came to his senses, he suddenly remembered how serious the consequences would be if he angered the Li family. Although she is the daughter of the Pei family, she is not a direct descendant of the family. If something happens, it is still unknown to what extent the Pei family is willing to protect her. Thinking like this, the way she looked at Xia Yingluo was vaguely wrong. Who knows whether what Xia Yingluo said is true or false? What if she wouldn't let him go, but instead found someone from the Li family to take revenge? It's better to just kill Xia Yingluo right here and get it over with. Xia Yingluo saw the killing intent in her eyes, and said in desperation, Pei Yan, I advise you not to have any bad intentions. Jin Linger's life or death is uncertain now, and she might be able to be rescued. When the time comes, it will become a big deal. But if you do something again and turn hurting into killing, then you are a murderer and you will have to pay for it with your life. Pei Yan hesitated a little, but still looked at Xia Yingluo gloomily, with the murderous intent in his eyes not disappearing. Xia Yingluo felt that the strength in her body was slowly draining away, and her forehead was covered with sweat, but she still held on and said, Don't waste your efforts, you can't kill me, believe it or not, I have at least 100 ways to kill you. Even if you are lucky enough to kill me, are you sure you can withstand the anger of my parents? Once something happens to me, they will definitely activate all their personnel to carry out the most in-depth investigation. You are not a professional killer, and you can't do it easily without exposing your flaws. Will be traced. Do you think the Pei family can save you by then? Pei Yan stopped talking. He understood that what he said made sense, and the murderous intent in his eyes gradually disappeared. Xia Yingluo secretly breathed a sigh of relief and coaxed her softly, You dial the phone and hand it to me. You can leave. I swear on my life that I will never tell anyone that you have been here. Pei Yan is a little confused. Xia Yingluo's words seemed to have a strange calming power, which made Pei Yan listen to them without realizing it. She took the landline phone, dialed the emergency number and handed it to Xia Yingluo, and she hurriedly escaped. Xia Yingluo ignored her and told the emergency personnel about the situation on the phone. Then she struggled to climb out of bed and came to Jin Linger, looking down at the dying girl. Linger, nothing can happen to you, she choked and said. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 1280. Chapter 1280 I'll be there soon. In the hotel room, the carpet looked pale and lifeless. The knife cut off her blood vessels, and blood flowed out gurglingly, staining a large area under her body red. Xia Yingluo was not idle. She quickly tore open the corners of her clothes and bandaged her wounds with strips of cloth. Her technique was very professional, and she quickly bandaged the wound, and the blood slowly stopped flowing out. However, Jin Linger's eyes were tightly closed, and her face was as thin as gold paper. Xia Yingluo dragged the quilt off the bed and covered Jin Linger's body to keep her warm. Linger, you must survive this, do you hear me? She held Jin Linger's cold hands due to excessive blood loss and kept cheering her up. The door to the hotel room was opened, and Zhao Yuxuan appeared at the door carrying a sumptuous meal. Looking at the scene in the room, his expression was full of astonishment. What's going on? Yingluo, how can you move? What happened to Jin Linger? Xia Yingluo looked up at Zhao Yuxuan. Her expression was calm, but there were tears in her eyes. Linger was stabbed by a knife and her life was in danger. I called an ambulance. Zhao Yuxuan, help me save her. Zhao Yuxuan was still shocked. How could you move? Did you stab her? Xia Yingluo simply ignored this stupid pig and said, Go and get some thermal bags. Her body is too cold. She cannot continue to lose her temperature like this, otherwise she will not be able to withstand it. Zhao Yuxuan hesitated and did not move. Xia Yingluo was angry. You're not going, right? If anything happens to Linger, I want you to bury her with her. She is Li Lei's daughter. No matter how wealthy she is still very scary when she is really angry. Zhao Yuxuan was frightened by her appearance and stammered, Pay for what? This is none of my business, right? Xia Yingluo said coldly, You captured this person. If something goes wrong with you, how can it be none of your business? Zhao Yuxuan, I won't let you go. You probably don't know our family's methods. Her words made Zhao Yuxuan shudder. Zhao Yuxuan suddenly remembered that the beautiful girl in front of him came from a mafia family. How could the mafia have any reason to kill someone? As long as she is unhappy, she can let someone die without a burial at any time. He worked hard in the entertainment industry to get to where he is today, not to die. Thinking like this, Zhao Yuxuan put on a flattering smile and said, "Of course I will help you save him, Yingluo, but you won't do anything to me, right?" Xia Yingluo wanted to tear him into pieces, but Jin Ling'er's safety was at stake right now, so she had to swallow her anger and said, "As long as Jin Ling'er is safe, I guarantee you will be safe too. Why don't you go get a hot water bottle quickly?" Zhao Yuxuan was relieved and hurriedly left. Xia Yingluo was so anxious that she sat and waited until she finally heard the sound of an ambulance. The emergency personnel carried Jin Ling'er onto a stretcher and rushed her to the hospital. I entered the emergency room immediately. The red light in the rescue room kept flashing. Xia Yingluo was sitting on the bench in the corridor, looking pale. It's all her fault. She was the one who dragged Jin Ling'er down. If Zhao Yuxuan hadn't come for her, he wouldn't have done anything to Jin Ling'er. The same goes for Pei Yan, who got Jin Ling'er involved because of his hatred for her. Just thinking about this made Xia Yingluo's heart tighten and feel uncomfortable. Zhao Yuxuan stayed with her. At this time, he felt that he should be a warm man. He took off his coat and put it on Xia Yingluo. "Yingluo, are you cold? You should pay more attention to your body and don't catch a cold." Xia Yingluo waved his hand away, "Get out." Zhao Yuxuan's expression froze. Xia Yingluo ignored him and clasped her hands together, silently praying for Jin Ling'er. After an unknown amount of time, the door of the emergency room finally opened, and a doctor wearing surgical clothes and a mask came out. "Doctor, how is Jin Ling'er?" Xia Yingluo asked eagerly. The doctor shook his head, "We are still rescuing him. I'm going to get the medicine." "Are you a family member of the patient? Notify the family of the patient quickly. Maybe we can see him for the last time." Xia Yingluo's heart skipped a beat. "Is her condition very bad?" The doctor said hurriedly, "The aorta was ruptured and she lost too much blood. If she hadn't been rescued properly, she wouldn't have survived." Before the ambulance came after that, she hurried away. Xia Yingluo was on the verge of collapse. She didn't expect the situation to be so bad. Her mind was in chaos and she had no idea. But Zhao Yuxuan was still beside him and said, "Yingluo, it's really not my fault. I don't know anything. I'm innocent." Xia Yingluo just thought he was a fly buzzing in her ears and ignored him at all. She just kept thinking, "What should I do? How can I do?" She absolutely couldn't just watch Jin Ling'er die like this. In desperation, she quickly made a decision and first said to Zhao Yuxuan, "Go and notify Jin Ling'er's family." Zhao Yuxuan hesitated and wanted to argue. Xia Yingluo glared at him fiercely, "Go quickly." After making arrangements for Zhao Yuxuan, she called her family again and told them about the situation here. However, Li Lei didn't have any good solutions. He only said, "I will send experts over right now. Yingluo, don't worry. But this hospital is already ranked among the best in the world. Since they said there is nothing they can do, they still hope that you can prepare for the worst." Xia Yingluo said, "No, I will never give up on Ling'er." As she said this, she felt even worse in her heart, as if there was a big dark stone weighing her down. How can we save Jin Ling'er's life? In a panic, she thought of a person. Maybe that man would have a solution. She dialed Wei Lingnan's phone number. "Wei Lingnan, help me," she said, "something happened to Ling'er and her life is in danger. Is there any way you can save her?" Wei Lingnan on the other end of the phone didn't hesitate at all and asked her what was going on. Xia Yingluo explained clearly in a few words that Jin Ling'er was cut with a knife. Wei Lingnan said, "I'll be there soon, don't worry. Your friend will be fine." These few words were like a reassurance for Xia Yingluo. From the time Jin Ling'er's accident happened to now, whether it was Zhao Yuxuan's evasion or the uncertainty in Li Lei's words, they all made her feel uneasy. Only Wei Lingnan, a short sentence of "I'll be there soon, don't worry" seemed to contain a kind of calming power, and she was no longer afraid even if the sky fell apart. The door of the operating room was pushed open. Xia Yingluo turned around and was about to ask the doctor how her condition was now, when she was shocked. The man who came out was tall, wearing a clean white shirt and with handsome features under the pale light of the hospital corridor. He was actually Wei Lingnan. End of this chapter.